Hello, everyone. This is Curtis Cross here, and welcome to our credit repair class. You're going to want to thank the person who's got you on this call today. We're going to make this, I don't know, somewhere around about 30 minutes or so. But my name is Curtis Cross. I've been in the credit repair world now, I don't know, man, wow, about 23 years or so. And we helped a lot of people with their credits. We go around doing seminars. Maybe you want us to come to a city near you. You can definitely get that book. We can talk about that. For those of you that's part of our Team Favor, congratulations. This is just one of the extra bonuses that we're going to give all of the brand new business partners with Team Favor. And at the end of this call as well, I'm going to show you guys some extra bonuses that we're going to run right now. Okay. So, jumping right into this training, we're going to give you a couple of apps that you can use. You can actually screenshot these if you want, or you can actually just write them down so that you can attend to these later. So, the first app we're going to share with you today is an app called Mint.com. Mint.com. Now, this app is designed to help you kind of like budget. Okay, it's to keep track of your finances, to keep track of your bills and stuff like that. It's a real good app to have because you are going to want to know. You're going to want to know which bills is due at what time and that kind of stuff. There's another app. That app is called Prism Money. It works about the same way. Basically, once again, it's going to keep track of your bills. You can always know when your bills are due, and you can actually upload. You know how you get like a gift card for a restaurant? You can upload those through this app, and it will let you know how much money you have left on each gift card. So, pretty cool tool that you can use. And both of those apps, by the way, are free. Now, why would you want to listen to me? Well, as I said earlier, we've been doing credit repair over 23 years, but we'll show you just some of the older clients that we've had. For instance, this client right here, we took them to from a 475 credit score to a 685 credit score. That was done in about 3 months. The 685 is not a real good score, but that's a big difference from a 475. Your If you don't know this, your insurance rates are based off of your credit scores. Okay, how much you're paying in interest as far as credit cards and auto loans and stuff like that. It's all based off your credit score. So every point is going in the right direction. Here's another client for you. Now, I'm very proud about this one. This particular client we took from a 356 credit score to a 763, and that was done in about 2 months. So, guys, once again, we're gonna break this down for you. Don't worry. I'm pretty certain there's nobody watching this video with a score less than a 356. You know how I know? Because the worst you can have in a credit score is 350. All right. So this is probably the worst score ever, right? So from a 356 to a 763 in 2 months. And don't worry, I'm going to show you, I'm going to reveal it today, how we were able to do that. Now, we probably don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this, but the difference between good credit versus bad credit. Guys, if you didn't understand that if you have bad credit, you're going to pay way more for stuff. Here in this example, on the left-hand side of your screen, you have a person with good credit. Now, both of them, the person with the good credit and the person with bad credit, they're both buying a car for $20,000. They're both financing it for 5 years. The interest rate is a big difference, though. You see it? The person with good credit paying about 6%, person with bad credit paying about 26%. But look at the difference at the bottom. The person with bad credit is going to pay 12,730 more dollars than the person with good credit. Okay. Now we got a lot of different type of examples of this. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Once again, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but those of you who decide to partner up with our team, you're going to get access to this slide deck. You're going to get access to even further training. Okay. Now I will tell you this, guys, your score can determine if your loan is auto denied or auto approved. Meaning, if your score is real low, you're going to automatically be denied. You can be a good person, you can have a good job and all that kind of stuff. But if your score is not up to par, you're going to get automatically declined. And we want to help you to prevent that. Now, we're still not going to go into a lot of these type of slides. Once again, you will get access to this type of training. But I do want to just focus real quick here on what I like to call the 6 C's of credit worthiness. The 6 C's. That first one is character. Now, your character, ladies and gentlemen, that has to do with like your payment history, you paying your bills on time. The second one is capacity. Your capacity, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is very important because here's the thing. At the end of the day, these banks want to know, can you handle the loan? Okay. Do you have income coming in? All right. The third C is cash. Now, what's the difference between that and capacity? Cash is money you got right now. In other words, you ain't got to wait for a check. You got your savings account. That's your money already that you got right now. That's your cash. Then you have collateral. Your collateral is things that you can put up. Like if you got a house that you can put up for the loan, that's what we're talking about. Then your conditions on the loan. Okay. This is going to be heavily generated by your bank. Okay. This is going to start getting into your interest rates. What is your interest rate and that kind of stuff. And then, of course, control. Now, you'll find that a lot of loans are industry specific, meaning if you said you wanted to open up a Bitcoin trading company, right? There are some companies that some banks would not give you a loan. They'll say it's too risky. Okay. So it could have decent credit, but you're still getting denied because of the industry type. And we're not going to go into all of that. This is not this particular call here, but I'll just kind of give you this information and you can potentially use this later on. We do have roadmaps. Everybody on our team will be getting this credit repair roadmap. It's basically going to take you step 1 to step 9. Step 1, for an example, is literally going to be pulling your report, right? And then so on. So let's go ahead and start with number 1. I'm going to pretty much take you in this order right now. So we're going to start with step number 1. So step number 1, when you're wanting to look at your credit reports and get those scores higher, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to order your reports. Now, if you're in the credit repair game for a while, you're probably laughing right now because the first thing I got up there is creditkarma.com. And people will say, Curtis, Credit Karma don't have an accurate score. And that's not true. Credit Karma actually do have an accurate score. It's just a different type of score. You see, there's 2 types of credit scores. We have a Vantage credit score and we have a FICO credit score. When it comes to buying a house, your house is going to be based off of your FICO credit score. A lot of credit cards, a lot of auto loans, they're highly leaning towards the Vantage credit score. Now, the reason I tell people to pull Credit Karma is because Credit Karma is going to allow you, especially with this class today, it's going to allow you to log in and be able to follow along to make sure that you have a healthy score. We don't just want you to have a good score, we want you to have a healthy score. So we focus on the health of your report instead of just the wealth. All right. And we'll get into that. The second link we have there is reports.teamfavor.info. That's actually a company called Identity Theft or ID Shield. This actually built into a platform you can literally go in. This is not free, by the way. Okay. This is not free at all, but reports.teamfavor.info. You'll be able to go in there and get your reports. I recommend you get the 3 tier, which is going to give you your Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. You're going to get all 3 of those. You can log in right there, reports.teamfavor.info. And the reason we like to use that, number 1, it works directly with our system, which I'm going to tell you about that here in a few moments. And it's going to give you your ID numbers, so not your account numbers. You're going to need your account numbers for each account when you want to do your credit. So Credit Karma does not give you account numbers, but reports.teamfavor.info do give you account numbers. You can also use annualcreditreport.com. They're going to let you get a free credit report once a year. That's another way you can do it. But if you're going to be using the system that I'm going to be showing you, you will need reports.teamfavor.info. All right. Now, once you've got your reports, what you want to do is you want to check your personal information. You're going to want to make sure that you only have one way to spell your name on your credit report. You only have one address on your credit report, and so on. The best way to update this is, for instance, as you look at your screen here, you see John Doe. Now, I want you to notice you see John Doe on Equifax is John E. Doe. On TransUnion, it's just John Doe, right? And on Experian, it's Johnny Doe, right? So it's different ways to spell his name or that his name is listed. You're going to want to update that. And the way you update that is you're going to write a letter to each one of these platforms and you're going to say, for instance, I'm going to just act like I'm John Doe. I'm going to say, I, John Doe, only spell my name one way. Please remove all other variations of my name. That's basically the letter you want to write. You're asking them to please remove all other variations. Okay. That's very key. You want to put that word in there, variations. In other words, you're not saying that's not my name. Your name might be Johnny Doe, right? But you want your name to be spelled John and then middle initial E, for an example, okay? Or however you want it. And it don't matter which way you go with, just make sure you go with that all the way through. You want to do the addresses as well. As you see, this person, Johnny Doe, has a Dallas address. He also have a New York address on Equifax. On his TransUnion, he have a Dallas address. Now, if you notice, Dallas is right there on TransUnion and it's right there on Equifax, right? And then on his Experian, he's got another Dallas address, which is the same, kind of the same. I'm gonna get to that in a moment. And then he have a Charlotte address that, look at this, it never showed up nowhere else. So the Charlotte is the first time it showed up is right here. And then you got this New York. That's the first time it showed up right there. So that's a lot of addresses. And if you really look at this even closer, you'll see that the Dallas address says 1234 Main Street. And then one might say 1234A Main Street, for an example. Okay. Those are different addresses, even though the numbers look the same. The word street is spelled out on over here on Equifax. It's spelled out. Street is spelled out. But over here on TransUnion, it's abbreviated, just ST. So you want to write a letter for that. Let me tell you how that letter should be wrote. I, John Doe, only have one deliverable address. Please remove any previous address as they are no longer deliverable. Okay. Now you might have to send this letter a couple of times. Just because you send it one time, that it might don't work. Okay, because it's based off of, is eOscar scanning your letters or is a human scanning your letters? It kind of depends. So send it, wait about 30 to 45 days, wait for the update. You ain't get one, or maybe you got one, but they didn't update it. Send it again. Just keep sending it. All right. Very important. Now, when it comes to your employer, this is totally up to you. I like to tell people that you want one main employer there. You don't want to have a whole lot of employers on your credit report, because what happens is some of these employers do soft pulls. They're not even asking you to pull your credit because they're doing a soft pull. It's not affecting your score. But what they're looking for to see if you're a hopper. If it looked like you had, 8 jobs in the last year, they're probably not going to hire you because it's looking like you will hop on them. And they don't want to spend a lot of money, bring you in, onboarding, and you leave. Okay. So that's why you want to get rid of some of those employers off of your credit report. All right. You can stop the auto verifications. Remember, I was telling you about auto verifications with if your score is not high enough. Well, there's another way you can stop your auto verifications. For instance, you can just screenshot this if you want. But this is doing it with Experian.com. So you go to Experian.com and log into your account. If you don't have an account, you can go ahead and create one of those. Team members, I'm gonna do a more in-depth training on this because we're gonna keep this particular call a little quicker. But basically, if you screenshot this, is gonna walk you through how you can actually check your report. You want to write your reference number down. We'll walk you through that. But you do not, I repeat, you do not want to dispute anything on Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion website. Do not dispute anything on the websites, because if you do, there's a little clause in there that says you relinquish your right to sue. And your right to sue is one of the best things we have going for us to get something off of your credit report. So if you've already done it, credit repair can still work for you, but you're going to have to work a whole lot harder. All right. Now, when you're sending your letters in the mail to Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, or any of the data furnishers, you're going to need to send it with some documentations. To make this call quicker, I made a website for you guys just for docs. Is docs.teamfavor.info. If you go to docs.teamfavor.info, it's going to show you what type of documentation you can send in. For an example, you can send in a copy of your driver's license, a copy of your social security card, and a copy of a bill. Now that bill don't need to be nothing like a student loan, nothing like that. It need to be a utility bill. Like it can be a light bill or a water bill. It can even be a cable bill. If you don't have any of those bills in your name, you can send in a bank statement. They don't need to see your account number, none of that kind of stuff. They just need to see your name, your address, the date of that bill. It need to be within 60 days, okay? The newer the better, but not older than 60 days. And they need to see that it's a bank statement. They need to see the name of your bank, okay? And that is so they can verify that it's you. That's really what it's for. Now, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this either, but this is actually showing you how you send your letters. So typically, when we were in school, we were taught that the return address go on the top left, and where you're sending the mail to go in the middle, and your stamp go on the right, right? That's what we was taught. Well, here's what we're going to do when it comes to credit repair letters. Number one, we're going to put 2 stamps on the letter. If you're sending them regular mail, you want to put 2 stamps. The reason is because if you've got 2 letters or 3 letters or 4 letters in there, the weight of it might end up getting your letter declined, okay, with the post office. So put 2 stamps on it. Don't be cheap. But if you pay attention to the way I'm going to teach you how to do this, you're not going to even do it this way, okay? But for those of you who do want to do it this way, what you're going to do is, instead of putting for your return address, instead of putting your address right there, you're going to put the secondary address of the credit bureau you're sending it to. So if you're looking right now, Experian has a P.O. Box 9701 Allen, Texas. They also have a P.O. Box 4500. Now, why in the world we do it like this? Because what these credit bureaus do, a lot of the people that work there, is they take a lot of these letters and they just put them back in the return bin. They put them in the return bin because you know how we do. We want to do as little work as we can and get paid the most money we can, right? So instead of them going, opening up these letters and doing the real work, they're taking shortcuts. They're just throwing them in a return bin. So if they threw your letter in the return bin, so this one, P.O. Box 4500, they just put this in a return bin. So I'm going to X this out. Guess what? It's still going to go back to their secondary address. That's kind of ninja secrets right there. Okay. We also recommend, guys, that you send your letters certified. Send your letters certified. It's going to cost you more money to send them certified, but sending your letters certified is going to help you out. You got the tracking, you got the proof that you've sent those letters in, and they are time stamped. Because remember, we have the right to sue, and having the right to sue is on our side. Okay. So they literally get 30 days to respond, and you don't have any proof of the 30 days if you didn't send your letters in certified. Now, there's a couple of websites that we use, and you'll have access to those, where instead of you printing your letters out at your house and buying the envelopes and buying the stamps and printing out the labels, instead of doing all that, we have websites that you can literally pay, and they will print your letter out for you and mail them and send them certified. Okay, just to give you an example, onlinecertifiedmail.com. That's one of them. Now, they're a little more pricier, but they do a very good job at helping you keep track of your letters. I think their letters is about $8.95 a letter or something like that, which is kind of high. You can do it a lot cheaper yourself, but we prefer our time, right? You can have the money. I want my time. So we pay them, let them do it. And there's quite a few, well, actually, really two sites that we're using. The other one is called LetterStream, and we'll walk you through these. Okay, don't worry about that. Now, when it comes to credit repair, there's a cheap way of doing credit and a more expensive way of doing a credit. And I recommend you do it the more expensive way. So if you ever hear somebody say they'll fix your credit for $50, they might send some letters, but you're at the mercy of the $50 because that means that person most likely is only sending letters to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. They're not sending letters to data furnishers. So this is just a couple of examples of data furnishers. You have check systems down there. You have Innovis. Okay. Of course, we talked about TransUnion. There's SageStream. There's Equifax. There's Experian. There's LexisNexis. There's ID Analytics. It's a whole lot of them. Okay. A whole lot of companies. So our system is going to give you access to all of the data furnishers so that you can attack those as well. We're going to show you how to freeze and suppress your LexisNexis. As a matter of fact, I'm probably jumping ahead of myself right now, but you can suppress your LexisNexis by going to optout.lexisnexis.com. That's opt, like OPT, out, which is OUT, dot Lexis, Lexis, Nexis, Nexis.com. So optout.lexisnexis.com. And it's going to ask you, why do you want to freeze or suppress your report? You want to click that you do not want your personal information shared. A lot of amateurs like to go in there and click identity theft, but if you do that, you got to have proof. You got to have police reports. So if you don't have police reports, don't do that. Just click I do not want my personal information shared, and it works the same way. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. You want to know your debt to income ratio. For those of you who want to buy a house, your debt to income ratio is what everything boiled down to. Okay. Ideally, you want to get, 36% or less. But there's a lot of banks that will do it at 43%. In a few moments, I'll show y'all how to figure that out. But this is a website you can use, dti.teamfavor.info. So you probably already realize our team is called Team Favor, and we're helping a whole lot of people win in a big time way. I'll hint on that in just a moment. So here's some more ways you can freeze your reports. We actually already set this up for you guys. So you have Equifax, which is freeze1.teamfavor.info. You can freeze your Experian by going to freeze2.teamfavor.info. And you can freeze your TransUnion by going to freeze3.teamfavor.info. So freezing your reports, we highly recommend you freeze your reports, especially when you're working on your credit. Okay, this is very important. Okay, we're going to keep moving here. So the difference between a hard pull and a soft pull, I mentioned that earlier. I was talking about how a lot of jobs will do a soft pull on your score because they want to see, how many jobs you got on your report and all that kind of stuff. And they're going to check and make sure that you're legit. And then you have the hard pulls. The hard pulls is, you know, a lot of hard pulls could come from you about to buy a house, you about to buy a car, and that kind of stuff. Your hard pulls is based off of categories. Like for instance, if you're about to buy a house, they're gonna allow more hard pulls in a short period of time. Instead of each inquiry costing you a whole lot of points, you could just get charged one time for points, so to speak, and you can shop around, which is what they're the reason why they're doing it like that. They're allowing you to shop for the best interest rate, so they're not gonna put a big ding on your score as you're in the home buying process. Okay. There's a lot of ways of repairing credit. One of the ways that I spent a lot of money with is a company called Metro 2. Metro 2 is actually a method of repairing credit, Metro 2 compliant. And I paid a company about $397 a month for years. I'm talking about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years that I paid this company $397 a month. And when you hear what I'm doing for our team, It's going to blow your socks off. Okay. And we'll get to that here in just a moment. Now, there are companies out there that charges you or that's trying to get you to pay them for collecting on debts. I always tell people don't pay a debt collector. Okay. I'm not saying don't pay your bills. I'm saying don't pay a debt collector. A debt collector, for an example, if you owe Walmart $50 and you didn't pay Walmart, I could buy your Walmart account for maybe $5, for an example. Okay. So I buy your account for $5 and I'm trying to get you to pay the 50. I'm telling you, don't pay me. Okay. I just paid your account off. You can thank me, right? I paid your account off, but I'm trying to get you to pay me back. You don't have a contractual agreement to pay me, first of all. Second of all, there's a lot of businesses that do that. They're not even licensed to collect on a debt. So, how would you like it if I showed you how you can tell if a company is licensed to collect on a debt? All right, here it is. That's how you do it right here. You can go to alive.teamfavor.info. Alive.teamfavor.info is going to allow you to type in a company's name that's harassing you, trying to get you to pay them, and it will let you know if they are licensed in your state. Ladies and gentlemen, just this slide alone is worth the call. Okay. Just this one slide right here is worth the call. And we're just getting started. Okay. Let's keep it going. There's two different types of credit. There's actually three. You have installment credit, you have revolving credit, and then you have what some companies call charge credit, like Amex card, American Express. Installment credit is fixed credit rates or fixed payments. Like, for instance, your car loan. Typically, your car loan is not going to be going up this month, down next month, right? That's a fixed rate. That's called an installment. Then you have revolving credit. Revolving credit will be like your credit cards. You know how your credit cards, like how much you owe, could vary month to month because you might use your credit card more this month than you did last month, and so on. You might pay it all the way off this month, don't pay it off all the way next month. You can owe $300, you can pay $200 on that credit card, and then voila, you can use those $200 you just paid on that card. You can use them and go buy you something else. Okay, that's revolving credit. Well, remember that, okay, because I'm about to blow your socks off again. Most people teach credit repair based off of this chart right here. Okay. If you ask anybody, unless they went to one of my classes, if you ask them about this chart, they'll tell you this is how you figure out your credit value. So this chart says that 35% of your credit score is based off of your payment history. And it says that 30% of your credit score is based off of how much you owe. 15% of your credit score is based off of your length of credit. 10% based off of new credit. 10% other factors, which has to do stuff like with your spread, meaning they don't want you to have all car loans on your credit report, right? They want a mixture. That's where that 10% come in. Well, I'm here to let you guys know, just to inform you guys that this chart is old and outdated. I don't know, maybe about 3 years ago, this chart has been updated, but very few people talk about it. Here's the new update. That 25% is now 25% for payment history. So it's no longer 35%. Payment history is now 25% of your score. And where you see it say 30% is based off of how much you owe, ladies and gentlemen, that's now 40%. So 40% of your credit score is based off how much you owe, and only 25% is based off your payment history. This is why you can pay your bills on time and have bad credit. I know that sounds crazy. You can pay your bills on time and have bad credit. Okay. So I'm gonna get into that, and I made a new slide for that, guys. This is a new slide. If you want to just take a picture of it or something, you can do that. You can always use these slides if you want. So it's just gonna show you the difference of how the shift had came about now, and it's based off of how much you owe. All right. So if I was doing this in a real class, and I mean I can't see you guys on this call, but if we were doing this as a live in-person class, I would still use these same slides. And I tell people to like hold their hand up if they got a credit card. And you'll see a lot of people hands will go up. And that's rightfully so. That's great. You want to have a credit card, right? Then I would say raise your hand if you know your credit card due date. And then you don't get as many hands. You know, a lot of people get their credit cards, but they don't be knowing their due date, which is crazy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's not your important date. Your due date is important, but it's not as important as what I'm about to show you. So, your main date you want to know about is your cycle date. Your cycle date. And there's only one way to get your cycle date. I know people will tell you you can get it off your statements and they'll mail it to you and all this kind of stuff. Let me tell you, it's only one way to get it. The only way that I recommend you get your cycle date is you call your bank and ask them for your cycle date. Say, hey, can I get the cycle date for my account? Now they're gonna try to weave around it. They'll say stuff like, yeah, you can just get it off your statement. They'll do all that. Always just say, I understand that, but could you give it to me, please? The reason why you want them to give it to you is because your cycle date could be, for example, you could be on a rolling 28, which means it's every 28 days. So it's moving every single month. You might be on a rolling 30. You might be on a rolling 31, and so on. So here's some examples. One of my credit cards is due on the 7th. It's due every single month on the 7th. That's the due date. So I called them up and I said, hey, I need to know my cycle date. Now, why would I want to know my cycle date? Because remember that 40% I was telling y'all about? That 40% of how much you owe is tied directly into what I'm telling you right now. So if you didn't know what a cycle date was and you don't know your cycle date, 40% of your credit score is based off of this. And most people don't know. This is another nugget right here. This is another thing that's worth the call. So I told you my due date is on the 7th of the month. When I called them up, they said, Curtis, your cycle date is on the 10th. So when they tell you your cycle date, say, okay, well, how about next month? What day would it be? And the reason you want to ask that is because you want to know, is it shifting? Remember, you want to know, is this a rolling 28? Is it a rolling 30? You want to know. So if they tell you it's the same date, then most likely you have a static date, which means your date is not changing. So my due date is on the 7th. My cycle date is on the 10th. Now, quick lesson on this. This right here alone could boost your score up over 200 points for sure. Unless your score right now is above a 650, that's the only reason you couldn't get 200 points from this, okay? So here's how it works. My due date, your due date has to do with your minimum payment. You got to pay minimum payment at least by your due date. Your cycle date is the date that the credit card providers are notified, or they're notifying the credit bureaus on how well you're doing with your limit. So let's say, for instance, this card is a $1,000 card. So you got a $1,000 card and it was due on the 7th. Okay. Let's say you've used up a lot of that 1,000. So you used up all of that and you don't have but $100 left on your card. Okay. That's all you have. Now, what most people do is they paid all their card all the way down to zero on the 7th, right? And then they go and buy a TV, for an example, on the 9th. They bought a $900 TV on the 9th, right? Well, when your cycle date hit, they're going to contact the credit bureaus and say, man, Curtis blew his card. he don't have but $100 left. And I could just lost 200 and some points. What I teach is you want to pay your card down as much as you can by your cycle date and don't use that card anymore until the 11th. You see, on the 11th, now you're working on the next cycle, okay? Now, if you don't have extra money to pay your card down, one of the things I've been teaching is I like to call this the two monies secret. I know that's not probably the right way to say it, two monies, but listen to how it works. You'll always remember that because I said it. So how it works is this. Let's use this same example. Due date is on the 7th, cycle date is on the 10th. You want to find all of your bills that's due the week before. So, for instance, your water bill might be on the 2nd, right? Your light bill might be on the 3rd. Your car payment might be on the 4th. Your insurance payment might be on the 5th, and so on. You want to calculate all of those monies together. Then you're going to call each one of those companies. So if your water bill is on the 2nd, you want to call the water bill company and you're going to ask them, can I pay y'all on the 11th? Right? They're going to say, oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. That's no problem. Thank you for calling us. Right? So you just change your payment that was due on the 2nd to the 11th. You're going to do the same thing with, say, your light bill. Can I pay y'all on the 11th? They're going to say, oh, yeah, that's no problem. Thank you for calling us. Right? You're going to pay that on the 11th, and so on. Well, you're going to take all of that money from those bills. That might be $1,000, right? And you're going to then apply it towards your credit card on the 9th, the day before your cycle. You're going to pay that credit card down as low as you can. On the 10th, it's going to cycle. They're going to contact the credit bureaus. They're going to say, man, Curtis is doing real good with his credit cards. You're probably going to get a limit increase. So they're going to take that card from $1,000 card to probably a 2,000, 3,000, maybe even a 5,000 card, right? And watch this, my friend, your score would have just increased. Hopefully y'all caught that. Now, what about your light bill, your water bill, and all those bills I talked about? On the 11th, you're going to use your same card that you just paid down, and you're going to pay all those bills back. Okay. Now, this is just a temporary fix. This is not something you're supposed to do forever. This is a temporary fix. And hopefully by now you'll be partnered up with Team Favor, and we can help you generate some extra income so that you won't have to do this but so long, right? That's the ideal. But you want to pay your credit cards down. Keep in mind 1 to 3%. I know people online tell you pay it down to 30%. But I'm telling you right now, if your card's at 30%, you're losing out on probably 80 to about 120 points. Okay. You want to get those cards down to about 1 to 3%. Okay. Now, your Credit Karma, which is a FICO, which is a Vantage score, your Credit Karma, which is the Vantage scoring system, will increase if you pay your cards down to 0. Okay. But your FICO score will go down if you pay your cards to 0. So this training is centered around your FICO score, which is like buying a house. You want to keep your cards at 1 to 3%. Don't pay them down to 0 because FICO likes a little debt. All right. Very quickly here, and we're almost done. I want to show y'all very briefly here how you can read your this would be your Credit Karma dashboard. So you go into your Credit Karma account and click dashboard, or click on one of your scores, scroll down to the dashboard. You're going to see something look like this. Very briefly here, here's how you read this. You're going to see one is going to say credit card usage. You want that to be about 1%, okay? 1%. If it's more than 30%, that's not good, okay? But you want 1% in the credit card use selection. If you don't have a credit card, once again, you're missing out on about 200 points. Your payment history, you want that category to be about 99% or better, right? Derogatory marks, you want this to be 0. These are your negative accounts. You want this to be 0. Now, if you notice, there's a red line at the top. Some of them have green. Some of them would have yellow. So if your derogatory account has 2, it's a red line. If it was a 1, it will be a yellow line. And if it was a 0, it will be a green line. Okay. Credit age, you want this to be 7 years. Now, the average person is going to have about 4 or so years, about 4.5, 5 years. It's because credit has now become readily available. You can get credit on anything. You can finance anything now. So because of that, your age is getting cut down. So how age work is like this. It works like this. Let's say you only got a student loan and you had that student loan for 10 years. Your credit age would say 10 years. Tomorrow you go out and you get a credit card. Now you got 5 years because it's going to divide those 10 years by 2 accounts. You get it? You get another account the next day. Now you're at probably 3.5 years or whatever it is. So you're every time you add an account, you're cutting down your credit age. All right. Total accounts, you want this to be 11 or more. So more than 11 accounts. And then hard inquiries, you want this to be 0. You can go up to 2. Okay. You can go up to 2, but 0 is better. Okay. Now, there's things you can do to increase your score. I always tell people that credit is a game and you got to know how to play the game. If I gave you a ball and told you to score and you just got it and you started running and you're like, touchdown, and we're shaking our head and mad at you because there's whistles blown by the refs. They're saying this is basketball. This is not football. You got to dribble the ball when you're moving. Okay. That's how credit work. You know something about credit, but you're penalized because you're making moves that you shouldn't be moving or you should be making. Prime example. I've seen people say, Curtis, I had a account. It's real old. I had that account for 8 years and I want to take it off my score. I had three late payments. It was 8 years ago. I want to delete it off my credit. You don't want to delete that. Why? Because it's an old account. So when you delete that, you're going to affect your credit age and you don't want to affect your credit age. Y'all with me? So you got to know what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. You also got to be careful with getting brand new accounts because you're thinking, well, I need 11 accounts, so let me go get some more accounts. No, because when you try to go get some more accounts over here, you're going to get more inquiries. You with me? You see how that works? When you're thinking you're helping one thing, you're hurting something else. Okay? But there are things you can do, like for instance, to help you in your credit age category, you can do what we call become an authorized user. An authorized user. If you have a child and they're 13 years or older, you need to add them to your credit cards. Some people call it piggybacking. Okay. You can add them to your cards. So as long as they're at least 13 years old, you can add them on as an authorized user and they will inherit your history. So you might have a 13-year-old, but you have a Capital One credit card that you had for 30 years. They would have 30 years of history. Okay. Now, some credit cards, like American Express, will not backdate and give you the history. They will let the person be on the account. They will count the account, but they will not go back and backtrack for the history. But I want to tell you something about authorized users. With authorized users, you can help with your total accounts, right? But guess what? You do not get a hard inquiry. See how that worked? I just gave y'all a big tip right there. Also, let's say for instance, like I said, let's say it was an old account, a 30-year account, the credit age would get helped because they get the age, unless it's American Express. Also, they're going to get help with this category, the credit card usage, because let's say they got a $20,000 credit card and they keep it at a 1% balance. Guys, your score is about to go through the roof. Also, let's say your payment history, like this person's account, was at 89%, and I told y'all you want to be at least a 99. Well, guess what? All of those years from that authorized user account will go into this, which is going to help your payment history. So because of all those years of good history that you just got put on that card, it might put your payment history at 98%, 99%. Okay. And then as far as your derogatory marks, that's why we do what we do. We're going to send letters off and we're going to get those scores up. Okay. Now, I'm going to pause here. This will be part one. We'll pause here, but I will do this real quick, very briefly here. I'm going to show you guys. Um, Actually, I'm going to give y'all a couple of bonus websites. Here's a couple of bonus websites. I gave you one of them already, optout.lexisnexis.com. I also want to give you cfpb.gov. CFPB, which is the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, they will actually be like the supervisor to the credit bureaus. So if the credit bureaus is like ignoring you and not responding or whatever, you can actually file a complaint with the CFPB.gov. You also have optoutprescreen.com, which is kind of like a freeze, but what this is going to do is keep people from sending you all of these pre-approvals because especially once your score starts rising, you got to be careful because they'll send you a pre-approval and they'll throw you off your game and now you're messing yourself up, okay? I do like to let people know that the number one reason that people don't get approved for a house is not because of their credit scores. The number one reason that people don't get approved for the house is because of their debt to income ratio. Now, if you're watching this call right now with a guest, you can get with that person and they'll show you something that our team is doing that's helping people make extra income. We've got people working part-time, making better than full-time income. Okay. We even got people working this thing in their spare time. So it's something that you can do. It's involving travel. And by the way, I'm going to show you something that I'm doing for everybody who joined our team. I'll show you that here in a moment. But here's how you do your debt to income ratio. If you want to know how to figure that out, it works like this. You take the amount of money you make monthly. So in this example, we're going to say 5,000. So if you make $5,000 a month, you're going to multiply that by 43%. It gives you $2,150. $2,150 would be your maximum monthly debt payments, meaning when you add in your house payment and your car payment and all the other type of payments that you have, that's what it will go to. Okay. Give me one moment here. Okay, there we go. The screen has switched. So once again, that $2,150, that would have to cover all of those bills. So even your student loan that you're like, man, I ain't paying my student loan. If it's on your credit report, they're going to factor it into your debt to income ratio. So it's very important to know. Now, I'm going to show you guys something real quick. Let me log into this. Give me one moment. I'm going to show you a system that we have. The website is actually letterbroker.com. Letterbroker.com. And y'all can get with whoever got you on this call, and they'll actually um, give you the hookup once you get started with us. But this is actually the system right here. Ladies and gentlemen, not only does this do personal credit, this does business credit. You can actually become an agent where you can repair people credit. They pay you monthly, or you just want to get it for yourself. But if I scroll down here, you'll see it's supposed to be $197 a month for this software. This covers two people. It's $97 a month. And then we have the agency supposed to be $497 a month. We got it right now for 197. Well, for those of you who join our team, okay, and these are the yearly prices if you want to do yearly. But for those of you who join our team, here's what we're going to do for a special limited time. You're going to have to come in here and put in your ID number, and you're going to put in our passcode. We'll give you that once you get started. And it's going to take this 197 down to $47. Okay. There's no contract. I told you guys I was paying $397 a month for Metro 2 only. Guys, this gave, look at this. Instead of this being 197, well, it's supposed to be 497, but right now it's 197. If you join our team, you can get the agency plan and repair people credit and charge them whatever you want to charge them. It's only going to be $97. Ladies and gentlemen, that's really $400 a month off. Okay? I just told you I paid $397 a month just for Metro 2. Now, inside of this system, you'll be able to, matter of fact, give me a moment. I'm going to show y'all a sneak peek. Just give me one moment. Let me log in. Okay. I just want to show you guys how powerful this system is. It's a game changer, and you guys are getting a chance to see it right now live. Okay, so I'm logged into this platform. There's a letter generator in here. I'm gonna show you how cool this is. Okay, you can come here and upload your credit report. We'll walk you through that. There's a dispute tracker in here. There's a letter generator in here. So how it works is, let's say for instance, it's a charge off. If it's a charge off account, it's telling you for that particular account, you will use the section 609 letter, right? If it was a late payment, you can do a 609. And by the way, if you want to do goodwill letters, you can do that, which is basically an excuse letter. We got Metro 2 letters in here. We got consumer law letters. We got factual dispute letters. I mean, you just basically click on whatever type of account it is. It'll tell you the best type of account to use. So for instance, I click on the hospital bills, it can let me know, go with the consumer law letters. So you don't have to, when you upload your report, you don't even have to do this. It will select the best letter for those types of accounts. We also have, you want to get rid of these inquiries, come in here, the letter will write itself out for you. You select who all you want the letter to go through, right? Um, Furnishers. This is powerful. A lot of people don't want to give you these. Look, all of the furnishers from Bank of America, Chase, you name it. We can go in here to the student loans. All right, student loan companies right here. You can go into collection agencies. These are collection companies like LBNV Funding. They own a lot of people reports. Midland Credit. They own a lot of people reports. Portfolio Recovery. They own a lot of people reports. And the list goes on and on and on. Medical. Boom. Click on medical. These are medical companies right here. Okay. Credit union companies right here. Two of the biggest ones. Okay. So anyway, you can go in here, you can click on one, let's say LBNV Funding, click on it, boom, you got their address and you got their phone number. You see how that works? So everything is in here. You do not have to think about this. We took the thinking out of this right here, okay? Letter formation, this is where you can come in here. You can actually update your personal information. All that stuff is done in this platform, okay? Get your credit reports, come in here, click that, get your credit report. You got a training guide in here. It's going to break down best practices and stuff like that. Y'all, this thing is, I'm telling y'all, I, I've been in the credit repair game over 23 years. I've seen a lot of systems. I'm telling you right now, none of them can hold a stick to this. I'm telling you right now. All right. Escalation letters. This is if they was look at this. No response after 30 days. Click on this. Okay. If they say they investigated it, no, they didn't. Click on this one. All right. If they deleted it, but they put it back on your report, click on this one. Boom. If you want to do the CLPV client, click on this one. Okay. And just feel this, man. I'm telling you, it's I'm getting fired up here. I'm getting fired up. But remember, instead of you paying $497 a month, it was going to be $197 on special. You guys will get it for $97 a month, no contract. You can do as many credit letters as you want to with it. Or if you want the personal plan, it's supposed to be $197 a month. I got it on special for $97. You guys will get it for $47, but you must be an active team member and you have to put in your ID number and the password, which you will get once you get started. Okay. There's a lot more stuff in here, guys. We're not going to go into all this stuff. As you guys see, it's loaded, loaded, loaded. We even have a business credit side of this too that can help you grow your business credit. It's going to show you how to set everything up, how to get your LLC, pick your name. It's giving you the steps of what to do. You can come in here and you can say, you can click. Let me give you an example here. Let me scroll down right here. So it's going to ask you questions. Do you have an EIN? If you do, click that. Boom. And it's telling you, you might be able to get the Uline, right? Do you have a DUNS number? Click that. Boom. It's going to keep telling you how likely you are to get approved. You have a dedicated business address. Click that. Boom. Look at there. You likely get approved for the Uline, the Quill, the Granger, the Crown Office Supplies, and so on. So all you do is fill out the information about your company. And ladies and gentlemen, all of the tiers is in here. Everything from gas cards to Office Depot, Sam's Club, Amazon, all your fleet cards is in here. It'll tell you which ones you can get approved for right away. Guys, once again, it's loaded. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. We do have the team favor system. If you guys want to see that, make sure you connect with whoever got you on this call. It's a very short video. It'll break down our company. It's actually inside of the travel space. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was able to go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for 8 days. I had a 2-bedroom suite, beautiful property, and we paid $9 for the entire week. We also went to Orlando, Florida. We were there in a 3-bedroom, 2 full baths. I had 2 kitchens in it, beautiful property. We paid $49 for 8 days. My wife and I also booked Dubai for 6 days, breakfast included for both of us, and it was only $1. Now I know that sounds too good to be true, but don't worry, we don't mind proving it. Get with the person who's got you on this call. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the family. Thank y'all so much for attending the credit workshop. Stay tuned. We're going to have another one we're going to be doing. And by the way, we'll be doing these inside of our back office, inside of our Facebook group. We got a Facebook community. You want to make sure that you get added to that group as well. Welcome to the family. You guys have a good one.